Good evening, everybody, and welcome to season 4 of the PSAI Talk Show. How are you all doing? Let's see who's online. Please say hi on the chat box so that we can see that you're there and you're with us and you're watching us. There's an absolutely amazing conversation that's going to unfold now. So, the PSAI Talk Show is back. So, I can see Divesh. Hi, Divesh. If you're here online, please tell us your name and which part of the world you're logging in from. Hi, Purva. Okay, we have more people joining in. Wonderful. It's a Monday evening and start of a fresh new week. So, how is Monday treating you? How is your Monday been so far? Please share in the chat box. Audio? Uh, am I audible? Divesh from Noida. Hi, Divesh. Shanti from KL. Hi, Shanti. Thank you, Purva. Yes, I think my audio may have just blinked for a moment, but now it's back. Brigadier Sir, nice to see you. Thank you for joining here with us. Let's see where we have people coming from. We have Shanti from KL joining us. We have Divesh from Noida. We have Nageshwaran from Mumbai. Hi, Nageshwaran. How are you? Praveen from the Indian subcontinent. Oh my God. Hi, Praveen. Wonderful, Divesh. Yes. Oh, okay. So you had a tiring Monday, and let's see if we can have a nice refresher with a great conversation. Brigadier Sushil Basin from Mumbai here. Hi, Jankar. Hi, he's logging in from Mumbai. Wonderful. So, for all those of you who are joining us for the first time, the Professional Speakers Association of India, the PSAI, let me take a moment to introduce the PSA of India to you. Now, the PSA of India is a young, robust, and ambitious association with one single vision: to create a strong ecosystem to help Indian thought leaders to build and grow their business of speaking. That's what the PSAI is all about. And you're here joining us on the PSAI Talk Show. And we are all set to have a conversation with a very special guest today. We've had three seasons before this over the last 3 years. And today we kickstart season four. And today we have on the first episode a very special guest with us. But before that, let's start off with a small intro into what the PSAI is all about and what it does. Now, the PSA of India was formed in the year 2019, and it's part of the Global Speakers Federation. Now, the Global Speaker Federation is an association of associations from speaking associations from 17 different countries, including India, and we are proud members of the Global Speakers Federation. And together, we belong to a community of passionate speakers, passionate professional speakers, thought leaders, and today, as we start off this fresh new episode of season four, I want to share one thought that what at PSAI, what do we really believe in? We come from a place of thought that at the PSAI, if you are expert in a field, if you are an expert in your field of work, or you have a great life story that's got a message for your audience, then nothing should stop you from sharing that message with the world. The PSAI is all about sharing your message, your expertise, and your wisdom with the world. That's what we stand for, and that's what we are all about. We have five chapters spread across different parts of the country. We have a chapter in Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Hyderabad, and Bangalore. And across these chapters, we have members from all parts of the country. That's what the PSAI is all about. Now, let's come on to the PSAI talk show. Now, today's guest. Let me talk to you about today's guest, but we have some more people joining us. Let me just say a hi. Uh, Good evening, Ram Prasad ji. Shanti, you're a first timer. Welcome, and such a pleasure to have you here. Wonderful. There's a somebody LinkedIn user. Thank you. So let's start off with introducing to you who our guest today is. Today we have a very special guest who's joining us and who will be on the hot seat for us, and she's speaks on a very, very unique topic. But before that, she's a generational diversity speaker. She's an author of five generational books and a columnist on staying a step ahead of Gen Next. She's known as the official Seenager, or a senior teenager, a millennial in spirit with the benefit of hindsight. Her TEDx talk on generational wellness and youth suicide is titled The Unaffordable Cost of Generation Gap, and it's already garnered more than 6,500 views. A certified virtual presenter, Neerja has 37 years of experience in media and education, and she uses that to harness generational diversity at work and at home. She's not a stranger to the global stage, having spoken live at five international summits so far: the Global Speakers Summit in Dublin 2022, the Professional Speakers Association of South Africa, Cape Town 2023, the Malaysian Association of Professional Speakers, Kuala Lumpur 2023, PSA Spain 2023, and PSA Australia 2024. And she has also been invited to speak at the upcoming annual convention, the Global Speakers Summit 2024 at Bali, where she will be speaking on generational donuts and the youth quick. How is that for a keynote? Ladies and gentlemen, can we give a big round of applause to the one and only, the official Seenager, Neerja Singh? Hi, Neerja. Welcome to the PSAI Talk Show.
Thank you very much, Vinay. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Such a pleasure to be here, having this conversation with you. Now, there is. I have to start off with this one question for you, and this is especially for also for our audience members who could be meeting you for the first time. That how did the official Seenager come about? What is the origin story of the official Seenager?
I've always had an affinity for the young teens and early adults. It is where our mandate, I believe, as bosses and parents lie. But what was happening was I was beginning to see a lot of heartbreak around me. It's not the way you expect youth to unfold. And I noticed that the young people today were getting really jaded and exhausted very early on in life, as though they had done everything already. The language of love was changing for parents and bosses. There were paradoxes, regular families being hauled to the therapist over the coals by their young, and kids living double lives in many cases. There were parents walking on eggshells. And India, in particular, very poignant, this shift in power dynamics. Suddenly, parents and bosses losing their authority and their young becoming their clients in a manner, and they had to be satisfied. I decided then that I would be a teenager, a senior teenager, a generational bridger. I would tell my generation that this gap is different from the one that we have faced. And I would tell the young that my generation can be non judgmental and can learn to listen and hold space and be a witness to their worst moments without trying to set it right or fix it. And I do believe that these are very special times. This is a new diversity. We are living in very narrow niches. Imagine today a boss has to be both confident and humble at the same time. It's a paradox. Once upon a time, they could afford to be the Lord. And the younger generation is struggling to fit in. They want to fit in. At the same time, they want to stand out. And I do believe that it is a mandate to prepare the young to lead. But how do we do it if they are beginning to tune us out? So I became a teenager, a millennial in spirit with the benefit of hindsight to try and create a bridge between the generations that are, I believe, growing more and more distant,
Right.
almost to the point where they believe they don't need each other.
Offhand, how easy or how hard is it to be non-judgmental? Is that really possible?
It is. It is. And if you make the effort to learn to be that, and today I think it's a very crucial skill because the changes that are happening, you don't necessarily understand them. And which is why I say that today we need to stay a step ahead because the expectations, the values, the priorities, they're changing very, very fast. It's very important to understand the young, but how can you do that if you start to judge them? Therefore, begin with non judgment. Then, along the way, perhaps you can hit a point of connection with them where you can convey a judgment if you very strongly feel about that.
Such a powerful mission and such a profound cause, if I may say. And now, Neerja, you've also been the past president of the PSA of India. You've also been the GSF representative for the PSA of India. You've held all the leadership positions that are possible in the association. So, how did PSAI happen?
Well, that is a very interesting story, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to recount that. The mic and the stage have always felt like home to me, and once my husband retired from the Air Force, I was moving around with him. I began to look around for speaking circles. I found Speak India, Roshan Sohail. From there, I went to the uh, speakers. Well, I'm forgetting the name of that foundation now, but from Speak to Change Foundation is the name of that setup. I went there. Then from there, I went to Toastmasters one at YMCA. And why sharing these steps with you is because this is literally the journey of a professional speaker. Now, Roshan Sohail told me to meet Anjali Gupta, who in turn introduced me to the PSAI. So it was on January 12th, I remember exactly 2020, at 91 Springboard in Chandewala Extension. And I entered that place. And who do I see sitting there? Vikas Jain and Vijay Gautam. They're both on their laptops, and Vikas is asking me, आप कितने वाले मेंबर हो? आपने 4,500 से ज्यादा दिया है या कम दिया है? That was the beginning, and that's the meeting with Srijata Bhatnagar. I have a lot of admiration for her. She was giving a workshop on her famous one pager, and Vikram Juneja gave a keynote. I don't remember how it happened, Vinay, but I ended up emceeing that first meeting. And that is the time that the registrations were also open for PSS 2020. And on 15th of Jan, I was asking Vikas if I could contribute in any way to the PSS 2020. And I told him he can trust me with a segment. I can be an MC. And before I knew it, I had a calling list of speakers from Pankaj Asija, and I'd begun to communicate with all the speakers. So, just to wrap up the segment, this particular question, the PSS 2020 dates were 1st and 2nd Feb. And by the 3rd of Feb, the fog in my head had cleared, and I was seeing a clear road ahead. I was on my way to taking speaking seriously. That's how I landed up at PSAI.
Landed up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Januaries are special for a lot of us because my journey at the PSAI also started in January 2019 when I attended the Professional Speaker Summit Chennai. So Januaries are special for a lot of us who've joined around that time in different years. So wonderful. Now, I have an announcement to make here. Of course, a lot of us already know that, but ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to us right now, I am delighted to share with you all that Neerja is the incoming vice president of the Global Speakers Federation. Congratulations, Neerja, from all of us once again. It's such an honor. Could you tell our audience a little bit about the Global Speakers Federation and what it means to you to take up this new role as the vice president?
Well, professional speaking has come a long, long way, and the clearest proof is the existence of the Global Speakers Federation. The mandate of this organization is very clear. It exists to provide support and resources to leaders of speaking associations around the world. We currently, when I say we, I mean the Global Speakers Federation comprises 17 independent speaker associations representing nations and individuals from over 20 countries. And if any of an existing speaker organization or a gathering or a group, if they would like to join the federation, they are welcome to apply for affiliation. And all the details are there on the website of the Global Speakers Federation. Now, this is also a good time to share that, well, professional speakers take themselves very seriously. We have a day dedicated to the professional speakers, March the 14th. It was chosen to celebrate this particular day because 14th ties up into the motto of Cavett Robert, who was a co founder of the National Speakers Association. He said, "Don't worry about how we divide up the pie. There is enough for everybody. Let's just make a bigger pie." So, on this day in particular, and throughout the year, we recognize and celebrate the incredible talent, knowledge, and experience professional speakers bring to their communities. These speakers are the power behind many social and cultural movements. It's important to remember that. And we are indeed proud to speak. I do want to share with everybody here that in my application for the vice president's post, I did say that I come with a promising new cultural location that stands for potential, propagation, and parotha, Indian pie. We are going to take we are going to take the parotha to many new shores. You asked me a question, Vinay, about my new role as VP. I do want to share that I really wanted this not just for myself, but for the PSAI as well. I thought it would lift the horizon for us. And to me, it is exciting to be able to advocate for the interest of speakers and the speaking profession. I can't think of a richer opportunity. It couldn't be better than this to grow personally and to develop professionally as well. And finally, I do believe that my values, my global temperament, and collaborative aptitude, all of these things align very well with the values that the Global Speakers Federation stands for.
And we strive and aspire to make the Paronta bigger.
Brought
Love the sound of that.
yes,
I
Indian
know, I
pie.
know. We're close to dinner time. I get that. Yes, I know.
That's the Indian pie paratha.
Absolutely, absolutely, Neerja. Thank you for being so candid about that, and sharing your thoughts about that. So, how does the road ahead look for you? How does the road ahead? What do you see on the horizon?
Very exciting. This tenure is going to be a 4 year tenure in the sense that GSF has a 4 year succession pipeline. So, from vice president, you graduate to president elect, then the president, and then the immediate past president, which means you are in the presidential leadership team for 4 years. Although my formal induction will happen only in mid July, but conversations have already started on what are the platforms that we are going to focus on, what are uh, what all can be done to achieve this objective of consolidating a credible presence for our business in the public mind. We want to be recognized for our expertise, for our skills, and every incoming member into the presidential leadership team comes with platforms they wish to see converted. I have my own interests. For instance, and these are only mine at the moment. Since I've not been inducted formally, these have not been discussed there. They have to align with what the others are doing. But just to share, I do believe that we need to work towards ensuring a high ethical standard. And we need to constantly update the code of ethics. It has to reflect changes in the industry, new challenges, emerging ethical considerations. How about championing diversity and inclusivity within the speaking community? And something very close to my heart as a teenager, empowering the next generation of speakers. We need young voices. These young voices have so much to teach us, and we need to welcome them into our community and give them the stage. I've been working with the current president of the Global Speakers Federation on expanding our global reach through enrollment of new association. It is led by the current president, but I've been involved in it. I've also been involved in leadership library and the panels that we are doing to help onboard the incoming leadership of association. So this is essentially the what would you the canvas that that the next 4 years are going to be unfolding on.
Looks like an exciting canvas to me.
Thank you.
Very, very happening and exciting canvas it looks, and augurs really well for professional speaking. But here I can't resist saying this, mentioning this particular point, because you mentioned about ethics, and you mentioned about being passionate about mentoring the next generation of speakers, or young speakers. And you recently concluded a mastermind on ethics, on what ethics means to a professional speaker. How was that experience like?
I was grateful that it happened because that conversation is so crucial that will bring ethics right up center of the table in front of us. And that's the only way to develop that and to internalize it and to adopt and adapt it to our needs because of the changes that are happening around us, particularly technology, which is completely uncivilized right now. There are no ethical considerations there. Nobody's in charge. It's the wild west frontier. AI fakes, a whole lot of malicious things can happen, a whole lot of things can go wrong, a whole lot of sometimes lives can be devastated. Therefore, against this background of such astonishing breakneck changes, it's very important to keep ethics right there in the center of the table, like I said, and work backwards from there. That's what I feel.
Wow. I'm sure your mentees would have had an amazing learning experience from that.
They have to give their feedback forms, yet only one has given. I hope they're listening.
I hope they're listening, and I hope the feedback forms
Yeah.
come. That's a reminder. So if you've not sent in the feedback forms, there's a reminder call for you. Please do
Yes,
send them today.
please send the feedback. No, but Vinay, seriously, I think it was a very, very essential and long needed, long due exercise. And in fact, I'll come right out and say that we did draft a document for you, the president of the PSAI, an ethics document, and which helps us just gather ourselves together and prepare ourselves to face what is coming at us with the
Absolutely.
and come from a place of information and confidence that we know what we are doing.
Absolutely. And couldn't stress more the importance of having ethics right in the middle of the table. I really love the way you put that, because conversations have to happen around that, and that's not something that can be taken for granted or assumed. It has to be right there, completely explicitly stated and followed. So completely with you on that. And this is the heart, and this is a very important part, and this is the heart of professional speaking. Now, coming to professional speaking, Neerja, um, tell us what professional speaking is all about. I know some of our listeners will be curious to know the difference between being a public speaker and being a professional speaker.
Very crucial difference. But before we dive into it, answer this question: how many professional speakers does it take to change a light bulb? Five, four, three, two, one. Ding ding. Okay, the answer is just one, but it will take them 45 minutes and a PowerPoint presentation to do
To do that. And a clicker.
to change a light bulb. And a clicker that works. All right.
And a clicker that works.
All right, to get serious about professional speaking, the difference between professional and public, which a lot of people don't understand, we have to explain it every time you tell somebody you're speaking for money. The difference will be based on context, purpose, and the level of engagement. Now, professional speaker is someone, we say this all the time, who is paid to speak at events, conferences, seminars, or workshops. We have to remember that their primary purpose is to deliver value, and that value is coming from the expertise, the knowledge, or the inspiring content that they have put together. A professional speaker will have a very specific niche or an area of expertise, and they are hired because of their reputation and ability to engage and engage with and educate an audience. Public speaker, by contrast, does speak in front of an audience, regardless of whether he or she is paid or not. It can include people speaking at community events or school functions, any public setting, club meetings. And the primary intent in public speaking is often to inform or to persuade or entertain an audience. So they're two very, very different streams. And there are many, many differences. There is a difference in skill level and experience. Professional speakers undergo training, they have an ecosystem in which they are constantly working, and they're also receiving, actively seeking feedback to hone their craft. And they will be members of professional associations like the PSAI, like the National Speakers Association. I just said that we have 17 associations. But public speakers, their skill levels can vary. They may not have the same level of training or experience. They may be effective and engaging. However, there's a difference in how deeply they are involved in the business of speaking. There are other very, very crucial differences that are clearly distinguish the two. For instance, preparation, customization. Professional speaker will customize their content. They can also be at the receiving end of higher expectations because people are paying for events where these professional speakers are speaking. So, a higher level of expertise, insight, and entertainment value is expected from these professional speakers. And rep- other differences, this is just for general awareness, and we do want people to know about how hard we work in marketing, in building our reputation, in doing our media appearances for visibility, credibility. So these are essentially the differences. There are differences in compensations, in fees, and for instance, public speakers may not be compensated. Their engagements could be voluntary, but professional speakers will be compensated. They will demand a compensation. So, to wrap it up, Vinay, like I started out saying, that the distinction is in the level of expertise, in their purpose, why they're speaking, in how they prepare, what are the expectations of them from the audience, and finally, that golden word, compensation.
Compensation. Absolutely.
Yes.
That's where the buck stops.
Yes.
So, do I understand it right that professional speaking is not for everyone who enjoys public speaking?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And the reason is that the level of commitment involved is very different. In professional speaking, you're carrying out extensive research, you're expected to do rehearsals, there is a constant push to improve. Remember, in professional speaking, there is travel, there is scheduling. You are flying off to different locations to there's a tight schedule that you're trying to stick to, and it can be very demanding. It may not suit everybody's lifestyle, even your personal commitments, in fact, your health. So, this is not for everybody. And let's say, take expert knowledge that professional speakers are expected to deliver. How do they do that? They're constantly, continuously updating their core subject to stay current in their field. And that can be time consuming and extremely challenging. In fact, that is where their books come from. Because they're constantly reading, because they are digesting that material, because they're writing it to internalize all of that and then be able to apply it to the phenomena that they see around them, there's a lot of work going on there. Whereas it may not be to the same degree with a public speaker, and a professional speaker, for instance, is not just delivering when they are on the stage. Many a times they are expected to be ready to handle unexpected situations or out of the blue questions in a very smooth manner. I could go on and on, Vinay. Talk about business acumen, talk about the need to manage relationships with clients, negotiate contracts, handle the logistics. You need organizational and interpersonal skills there. And
Absolutely.
there's uncertainty, remember, because the income of a professional speaker in the beginning can be variable and unpredictable, especially in the early stages. This is not something that everybody will be comfortable with.
Right.
The initial investments that we need to make in our training, in our exposure, in our professional development, not everybody is able to do that, which is why it's important to put this, set this straight that this is a very niche profession. It is not for everybody. Not everybody will be comfortable being subjected to the kind of public scrutiny that a professional speaker is. Would you be able to handle feedback and criticism constructively? So there are a whole lot of these reasons. So many people may enjoy public speaking, but when they transition to professional speaking, they have to be prepared for the additional layers of commitment, for business acumen, for resilience. That's why this is only meant for people who are willing to meet all these demands, and there are a whole lot of demands there.
Well said, Neerja. Very well said. Because I like the way you said it's a niche profession. It has a very unique set of nuances that are built around this particular profession, and it takes a very strong purpose and a very powerful passion to pursue this particular profession. In fact, I'm seeing some very interesting comments from our viewers. um, LinkedIn user, I don't know, I can't see the name here, but says public speakers dream of a paycheck. Professional speakers turn those dreams into direct deposits.
Yes, well said. Bullseye.
Yeah, and not every public speaker even dreams of a paycheck. For a lot of people, it's just the passion of speaking. But professional speakers are about the business of speaking as well. Very, very, uh, very poignant point here, and that leads me to an open thought: that what is the journey of of a professional speaker like? Could you briefly take us through the various stages in a professional speaker's life cycle, if I can call it?
Yes, I'll do that, Vinay. But what you just said led to one thought that I quickly want to express here. Professional speakers, many of them have been through certain incidents or experiences in their lives that compels them to take the mic, and they feel that the experience they had while coming out of those, well, I'll go ahead and call it a trauma or traumatic incidents, life transforming incidents, that has taught them something that they want to help others prevent experiencing. I can help someone avoid the pain that I suffered. And there's this compulsion to speak. And initially, that is where all the dots in their lives come together, their education, their training, their life experiences. And that then leads to this compelling message that they want to craft and deliver.
Wonderful.
So that is one. And the journey of a professional speaker. Let's for an overview. Why don't we take a hypothetical example? Let's let's call this person Ria. She's a corporate executive, and she has discovered her passion for leadership and public speaking while presenting at her company meetings. So what does she do? She joins Toastmasters. Her plan is to hone her speaking skills, and she also goes online to look for courses on public speaking and communication. And Ria is now reading extensively on leadership. She's attending workshops and eventually begins to write articles for industry magazines. I'm calling her Ria, but this is exactly the path that I followed more or less, and most of us do. Next, Ria creates a personal website, starts a blog on leadership, and then she becomes active on LinkedIn to share her insights. Local business events, small conferences, she begins to speak here and collects positive testimonials and video footage for her portfolio. Now, a professional speaker goes through all these stages, Not only is Ria doing all this, she's seeking feedback, improving her presentation, and then she begins to offer leadership workshops. As recognition comes her way, Ria begins to be given higher paying speaking engagements at national conferences. And then slowly she works towards building a business model for her speaking and consulting services. In addition to all of this, alongside, she's keeping up with latest leadership trends, maintaining relationships, extremely important, with past clients, and she's also balancing her travel schedule to ensure her personal well-being. So at the end of all this, now she's a professional speaker and she is mentoring aspiring speakers, writing a best-selling book on leadership, and preparing to leave a lasting legacy in the speaking community. So there you have it. You have dedication, you have continuous, ongoing learning, improving, strategic planning. All these are required to become a successful professional speaker. This is the path typically a professional speaker will follow.
Amazing. To all of us who are to all of us here from the audience who are listening to this conversation, if you have questions for Neerja, please do share your questions in the comment box, and we will put them up here. And we would request Neerja to share her thoughts on those questions. In fact, we have some very interesting comments coming up, Neerja. Uh, there was a handling feedback constructively is so very important, says Divesh. And Devesh also
Absolutely.
adds that professional speaker will have a niche, educate individual and outcome based, customize the content, higher level of expertise, purpose,
Mm,
insight, and value. So, yes, and that's the reason
yes,
why they are compensated. So, he really puts it all together.
absolutely. And I would like to comment on that, Vinay, because sometimes if anybody thinks or feels that why should a speaker be paid, let's say, a lakh of rupees for a 45 minutes or a 50 minutes keynote, the thing is that it's not those 50 minutes that you're paying for. You're paying for a lifetime that has gone into creating content worth 50 minutes, because one single transformation in that hall, it's enough, because they're ripples of change with every one mind shift. That is why this is a powerful profession that needs to be, well, done in a very responsible manner.
You spoke about that one single transformation in an audience, and I'm seeing that one question that comes up in a talk show that really, really, is literally it hits it for a six, which is has just been posed by. I
Hmm.
don't see a name here by LinkedIn user. Let's call it the person a LinkedIn user. How are the Indian professional speakers perceived globally these days? Are they getting enough visibility? If not, what should they do? And I cannot think of a better person to answer this question than you, Nirja. Please, over to you.
To your question, how are the Indian professional speakers doing on the global stage? Well, I'm sitting here in front of you. I'm an example. I started 4 years ago, and I'm the incoming vice president of the Global Speakers Federation. This is our time. This is India's time. We have stories, and we need to take the stage and help do a lot of positive uh, change, positive work in the world with our stories. And when you say how are they doing, it is new, the industry in India. Um, we've always known of celebrity speakers, motivational speakers, but not of professional speaking. But the fact that we are doing this podcast, the talk show, this is proof that gradually, slowly, steadily, we are getting there. In fact, in our own association, how old are we? When we were affiliated in 2019, and last year, a record number of speakers spoke globally. they attended conferences, international conferences. And it's this is happening, and this is why I was very excited to be elected in as vice president, because I thought this is a way to position ourselves and tell the world that we are ambitious, we are aspirational, and we are willing to put in the work it requires. We have great potential, a huge English speaking population. Indians are highly educated, and they have a reputation for delivering value. It's just a question of putting yourself out there. It's a process, and I think we are on the road to that.
Two things stand out for me from what you just said, Neerja. Willing to put in the hard yards and
Yes.
willing to put ourselves out there. When these two things come together, I think amazing things happen. So this is that question was from Dr. Sundaraman from the PSAI himself. So, and wonderful question, Dr. Sundar, and I hope uh, Neerja has addressed that question. Please, for the other audience members who are here, viewers who are here, if you have questions, please do share your questions in the comment box and we'll put them up here for Neerja. Divesh adds that, wow, I could relate so much to Ria and this should give a huge confidence to everyone. Absolutely. I think that was a great depiction of how the journey looks like.
Vinay, may I say something here?
Please.
To this last question about how are Indian speakers doing globally, one thing that's happening is when you interact, when you attend an international conference, you also get a peek into how how professionalism translates on a global stage. You may have an idea of professionalism here in our country, but when you're going on a global stage, you get a real sense, a reality check. And I think that is spreading through osmosis in our community, and we understand the kind of preparation, the kind of groundwork, the kind of practices and rehearsals we need to do to be able to take the mic with confidence and deliver and be lauded for it. So we are getting there. I'm very confident we're getting there.
Music to the ears.
Let's tango, let's tango, let's tango.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, and I'm not saying it as the president of the PSA. Saying it as a speaker myself. That yes, this is really, really heartening and encouraging to hear from you, and that makes a huge lot of a difference. It gives impetus to the whole initiative.
Vinay, we have to remember it's being said now. I'm trying to recall the name of the author, and it's appalling that I can't, but I will share that. But it is being said that the 19th century was about the Europeanization of the world. The 20th was about the Americanization. This century is about the Asianization of the world. So we have to remember that and grab it. And it's globalization is being spelt as global Asianization. So what are we doing? We need to get up and get off that starting block and be in the race.
And be seen and be heard.
Absolutely, be seen and be heard, which is why this was important for me, even to this incoming VP of the Global Speakers Federation is very symbolic. It says a lot. So yes.
Truly amazing. Uh, Coming to our next question now. This is something that I'm sure will benefit a lot of our audience members who are listening to this. That what would be your one message for them who are listening to us and gearing up to move ahead in their professional speaking journey? What's your one message for them today?
Well, my one message would be actually a question to them. I would like to ask my listeners, and let's give them just a couple of seconds to think about it. Maybe not right in the chat box. The question is, what does successful professional speaking look like to you? What does it look like to you? What do you consider successful professional speaking? And I will tell
For
you
me,
when I it. Yes, please go ahead.
Audience, any thoughts on that? Any replies on that? Any answers on that? Please feel free to type it in the chat box, and we'll take it up here. It's a great conversation that's it's going to add to this conversation. So please feel free to share your thoughts. Yes, yes, Neerja.
Well, a professional, successful professional speaking, we have to remind ourselves constantly, is not just about delivering a memorable talk or getting paid well. They both matter. Of course, they do. But in the final analysis, those who are gearing themselves up, like you just said, for their professional journey, I would urge them to prepare themselves for a number of things. The first one being a relentless pursuit of bettering yourself, your own skills. You have to be prepared to invest in that. There are challenges and setbacks ahead, but you have to practice, you have to prepare, you have to seek feedback, you have to work on your craft. Nobody is going to listen to you because you're from their community or some other reason. The only reason they would listen to us is because we are updated with new techniques, with the industry trends, and we have deep knowledge in our field. For instance, every morning when I go for a walk, I have to listen to a podcast on generational diversity. I have to write something on generational diversity. Also, we have to remember, for those who are gearing up, be prepared to open heartedly and with generosity invest in building meaningful connections. Those are very important in your career. And finally, we have to fight constantly, not each other, not anybody else, but to stay true to our unique voice and our message so that we remain all fired up and compelling on the microphone. Finally, professional speaking is about impact. We agree. It's about influence and it's about inspiration. So, you wanted to share one message, but I have this long message. The bottom line, the summation is that you have to be willing to put in that work.
She put that in a really nice way. The way I read it is, be prepared for the long haul. There are no shortcuts.
Yes,
And but once you put in the long haul, the outcomes are there for the taking.
it's a marathon.
It's a marathon. Absolutely, absolutely. Great. We have a question here from Divesh Nirja. He's Are there what are some of the markets outside India for professional speakers from a business and contribution point of view? What are some of the markets that Indian professional speakers can focus on?
Right now, the market is in the United States. That's where we will get paid the most. But to break into that market, you have to be good enough. You really have to be prepared and sharp. In a lot of other places, it's not paying as much. In fact, a lot of speakers from Europe, from Canada, from North America, these places, they would like to come to India, for instance. But again, the compensation that we get in India is not attractive enough, even though uh, the market is attractive because of the size of the audience, the demographics, the fact that we have such large segment of young population. So the market right now is the United States and it's yours for the taking. Go ahead and take it.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's absolutely comprehensive and elaborate. Thank you for that, Neerja. Now we come. Okay, is there any other question? Did I miss something? No, we did. I didn't. So in case we have another question coming up, so we'll take that as it comes. But now we come to the most exciting and fun part of the talk show as we move towards the business end of the talk show, which is the rapid fire round.
Hmm.
So I'm going to ask you a set of questions, quick questions, and you don't get time to think about it. You just get time to answer. Sounds
Okay.
good?
Yes.
And like
Yes.
professional speakers are, we are prepared for uncertainty.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Uncertainty, winging it by. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So let's
Hmm.
start off. One thing that people don't know about you,
That I love my paronta and white butter.
crystal clear. Uh, Three words that define who you are.
Courageous, kind, industrious.
How does 1 hour before your keynote look like? I'm very curious for this one.
1 hour before my keynote, I am just testing the technology, Vinay. So it's all to do with lights and with the mic, and in all other ways, I am more or less ready.
Amazing. Amazing. A book you're currently reading.
I am reading a book. I have it right here. It's a book that I have to review. In fact, can I just bring in? No, wait. That'll take me away. It's I can't recall the name. It's a beautiful book written for schools, for the school administration, and I'm reviewing it for the Teacher Plus magazine. And it's on how we have to prepare ourselves to deal with all the newness, all the new things that schools are facing today. In fact, right down to their relevance, whether they ought to exist at all, with the new petri dish learning which is in the air and which is very real today. So that's a book I'm reading.
The most dial number on your phone.
Mom, 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 mom,
Amazing. Last question.
mom, mommy, mommy.
Last question. One speaker that who truly inspired you or whom you truly follow in the speaking world. One speaker who's really made a transformational impact on you.
I would say Tiffany. Tiffany is very original. When she speaks, everything is coming from her own head, her own heart, and very distinctive branding, very distinctive graphics, very distinctive slides. So that is a kind of simplicity in messaging, and distinctiveness and originality is something that I would aspire to.
Wow. I presume you meant Tiffany Markman.
Yes, Tiffany Markman.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
I completely second that. I completely second that view. Absolutely original, fun content,
Yes.
and a very, very refreshing way of looking at something. Amazing.
Professional
Wow.
Speakers Association of Southern Africa. She's
Yes.
from there.
Yes.
Johannesburg, yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Neerja, for investing this time here with us and sharing your wisdom, your experience, your knowledge with us, and for this conversation. It means a lot to us, and you've provided the launchpad to the season 4 of the PSAI talk show. This is episode 1, ladies and gentlemen, and moving forward, we have a lot of new, fresh episodes planned up coming here right through the year. And today was the launchpad. Today was episode 1, and we've just kickstarted an amazing series, an amazing journey of conversations. It's just going to get more exciting from here on. So thank you very much, Neerja. Uh, Loved this conversation and learned a lot. So many nuggets of wisdom that I could grab from this conversation. And we have our audience members also, and there are a lot of wishes pouring in for you. Congratulations for being the incoming president, vice president of the Global Speakers Federation. And I can see a lot of comments which will be shared with you right after this. Thank you, Neerja. It was an absolute pleasure speaking with you.
And let's end with a cheers for the PSAI. Let's blaze a trail. Thank you so very much, team PSAI Talk Show. Thank you, Anupriya and Sonali and Vinay and Brigadier Bhasi. Thank you.
Thank you, Neerja.